The year was 2087, and humanity had spread beyond Earth. People lived on Mars now. Mining ships gathered metals from the asteroid belt. Earth was still home, but humans were becoming a true space-faring species. Commander Olivia Martinez sat at her control station in the Earth Defense Fleet headquarters. She watched the screens showing the vast emptiness of space around Earth. Her job was to keep Earth safe, to watch for any danger that might come from the stars. The alarm sounded suddenly. Olivia's screen showed something new, something that shouldn't be there. A ship, but not one of theirs. It moved like nothing humans had built. It was coming toward Earth. "Get me Dr. Murphy," she ordered. "Tell him it's happening." Dr. Alan Murphy was asleep when his phone rang. As the top expert in alien languages at the Global Space Agency, he had spent years preparing for this moment. First contact. He rushed to headquarters, his heart pounding. "What do we know?" he asked Olivia when he arrived. "Not much. The ship is slowing down. It will reach Earth orbit in about 6 hours. It's not responding to our signals." President Vance called an emergency meeting. Military leaders, scientists, and government officials gathered quickly. "We need to establish communication," Dr. Murphy said. "We need to know if they come in peace." Admiral William Donovan disagreed. "We need to be ready if they don't." They sent a message in all known mathematical formats, hoping the aliens would understand. Hours passed. Then the alien ship responded. The message came as symbols that changed into English words on their screens. "We are the Arcturian Dominion. We come to assess your world." Dr. Murphy worked quickly with his team to create a reply. "We welcome peaceful contact. We are the human race of planet Earth." The alien ship moved into Earth orbit. It was beautiful and strange, with curves and lines that seemed impossible. It was clearly built by beings far more advanced than humans. A smaller ship came down to the meeting point on neutral ground in the middle of the Pacific Ocean. Earth sent its own ship carrying Dr. Murphy, Commander Martinez, and Admiral Donovan. The aliens called themselves the Arcturians. Their leader, Envoy Zorthal, stood taller than any human. His skin was pale blue, and his 4 eyes blinked in pairs. He spoke through a device that translated his words. "We did not expect to find you so advanced," Zorthal said. "Most species at your stage require guidance." "We've managed on our own," Admiral Donovan said. His voice was polite, but his eyes were cautious. Commander Martinez noticed something strange. The aliens kept using small devices to scan everything around them. They seemed especially interested in the human ships. "What are you scanning for?" she asked directly. Zorthal's upper eyes blinked rapidly. "We assess all new species we encounter." "You're assessing our weapons," Martinez said. The alien was quiet for a moment. Then he said, "The Arcturian Dominion brings all sentient species into our empire. Some become citizens. Others provide resources. Your solar system is rich in elements we require." The humans looked at each other. Dr. Murphy tried to keep talking, to find common ground. But Admiral Donovan stepped forward. "Let me be clear," he said. "Earth is not available for your empire. Not as citizens, not as a resource." "You misunderstand," Zorthal said. "This is not a request. This is how the galaxy works. We found you. You belong to the Dominion now." Admiral Donovan stood tall. His voice was calm but firm. "Take this message to your leaders. Earth belongs to humans. We have fought each other for thousands of years, and that has made us very good at war. We don't want to fight you, but we will. Stay away from Earth. This is your only warning." Zorthal laughed, a strange bubbling sound. "Your weapons are toys compared to ours." "Then you have nothing to worry about," Martinez said. "But remember the warning." The aliens left, their ship rising quickly to rejoin the larger vessel in orbit. Within hours, they were gone. "Did we just start an interstellar war?" Dr. Murphy asked. "No," Admiral Donovan said. "They did. They just don't know it yet. The Arcturian High Council met in their grand hall. The room was huge, with tall ceilings that showed the stars above. 20 alien leaders sat around a curved table. They listened as the scout ship's captain told them about Earth. "These humans are primitive compared to us," Captain Zorthal said. "But they have reached their moon and the fourth planet in their system without our help." Grand Marshal Kevlar, the military leader of the Arcturians, leaned forward. His dark blue skin was covered in small scars from old battles. "Are they a threat?" "No," Zorthal laughed. "Their weapons are simple. Their ships are slow. But they are unusual. They told us to stay away. They gave us a warning." The council members looked at each other. No new species had ever warned the Arcturians before. "Earth has good resources," said Trade Minister Velnok. "Their system has metals we need, and the humans would make good workers in our mines." The Arcturian Emperor, Zaxkor, raised his hand. Everyone went quiet. "Then we will take what we need. Prepare the invasion fleet." On the far side of the room, a cleaner quietly wiped the floors. She looked like all the other service workers in the palace, but she was not Arcturian. She was human. Laura Beck had been a spy for Earth for 3 years. She had changed her appearance to look like the blue-skinned aliens. She listened carefully to their plans. That night, Laura sent a secret message to Earth. She used a tiny device hidden in her tooth. The message traveled faster than light through secret paths in space. It was very dangerous. If the Arcturians found out, they would kill her. The message reached Earth 2 days later. Defense Minister Gregory Hill was woken up in the middle of the night. "Sir, we have an urgent message from Agent Beck," his assistant said. Gregory read the message and felt cold fear. The Arcturians were coming with a huge fleet. They wanted to take over Earth and use humans as slaves. "Wake up the president," Gregory said. "Tell her we need to start Protocol Thermopylae right away." Protocol Thermopylae was Earth's plan for alien invasion. All countries would work together. They would build weapons and ships. They would prepare for war. In a lab under the Rocky Mountains, scientist Nathan Wells worked day and night. He had studied the scans the Arcturians took during their visit. He found something important in their ship's engine design. "They use a special way to move through space," he told his team. "If we can copy it, our ships can go much faster." Nathan didn't sleep for days. He drank coffee and worked until his eyes were red. Finally, he found the answer. "We can do it," he told Defense Minister Hill. "We can make our ships faster, maybe even as fast as theirs." Gregory nodded. "How long?" 2 years, maybe 3, Nathan said, "if everyone helps." "The Arcturians will be here sooner than that," Gregory said. "Then we better work faster," Nathan replied. On Mars, people began to leave their homes. Earth had sent ships to bring them back. Frank Morrison, the leader of the Mars colony, helped families pack only what they needed. "Will we ever come back?" a child asked him. Frank looked at the red planet that had been his home for 10 years. "Yes," he said, "after we win." Back on Earth, Captain Samantha Howard looked at her new ship. The Defiance was the biggest warship humans had ever built. It had new weapons and shields. It wasn't as good as an Arcturian ship, but it was close. "We aren't ready," Samantha told Admiral Donovan. "We need more time." "Time is the one thing we don't have," the Admiral said. "The Arcturians will be here in 6 months. When they come, we need to show them that humans fight back." On the edge of the solar system, automated sensors picked up the first signs. Many ships moving fast toward Earth. The Arcturians were coming. Laura Beck, still undercover in the Arcturian palace, sent her final message. "They're coming. 300 ships. God help us all." 3 years passed since the Arcturians first came to Earth. 3 years of building, training, and preparing. Now, the day everyone feared had arrived. The outer defense stations went silent first. These small bases orbited far from Earth, near the edge of the solar system. One by one, They stopped sending messages back to Earth. "They're here," Admiral Donovan told the World Defense Council. His face looked older now, with more lines around his eyes. "The Arcturians have entered our system." On Mars, the last transport ship was getting ready to leave. Most people had already gone back to Earth, but some had stayed to help with the defense. Frank Morrison watched as the final families boarded the ship. "That's the last of the civilians," his assistant said. Frank nodded. "Good. Now we can focus on giving those blue aliens a proper welcome." Mars was now a military base. Hidden weapons pointed up at the stars. Soldiers waited in underground bunkers. They couldn't stop the Arcturians, but they could slow them down. Captain Samantha Howard stood on the bridge of the Defiance. Her ship was the pride of Earth's new fleet. It wasn't as big as an Arcturian battlecruiser, but it was fast and had weapons that could hurt them. "All crew to battle stations," she ordered. Her voice was calm, but her hands were tight on the rail. "Prepare for jump on my mark." The Defiance and 20 smaller ships disappeared from Earth orbit. They used the new engines based on Arcturian technology. In seconds, they were near Jupiter, where the alien fleet was gathering. The Arcturian ships were beautiful and terrible. Their hulls shone like silver. They moved with grace no human ship could match. There were hundreds of them. "They're not expecting us," Samantha said. "Let's use that surprise." Attack pattern Delta. Earth's ships didn't try to fight the whole fleet. Instead, they targeted the fuel ships and the smaller scouts. They fired their weapons and then jumped away before the Arcturians could respond. When they returned, they hit different targets and jumped away again. It was like a bee stinging a bear, not enough to kill it, but enough to hurt and confuse it. Grand Marshal Kevlar watched from his command ship as another Arcturian vessel exploded. "These humans are not fighting like primitives," he growled. "Find their ships." But the Earth vessels were too quick. They appeared, attacked, and vanished again. The Arcturians had never fought an enemy like this before. After 6 hours of battle, the Defiance took a direct hit. The ship shook, and smoke filled the bridge. "Damage report," Samantha shouted. "Engines are failing. We can't jump again," her officer replied. Samantha knew they couldn't survive a direct fight. "All power to shields. Get us behind that moon." The Defiance limped behind one of Jupiter's moons. The Arcturians followed. "Launch probes," Samantha ordered. "I want all the data we can get on their ships." As the Arcturians closed in, ready to destroy the Defiance, Samantha gave her final order. "Send the data back to Earth, then self-destruct." The crew escaped in small pods. Just as the Arcturians surrounded the Defiance, the ship exploded. The blast damaged 3 enemy vessels. Back on Earth, people watched the battle through long-range cameras. They cheered when the Arcturian ships exploded. They cried when they lost their own ships. Admiral Donovan received Samantha's data. "This is valuable," he told President Rodriguez. "Now we know their weak points." "But can we win?" the president asked. "No," Donovan said honestly. "Not with what we have now. But we can hurt them. We can make them remember our warning." In space, the Arcturian fleet regrouped. Grand Marshal Kevlar was angry. He had lost 12 ships to the humans. The Emperor would not be pleased. "These humans are stronger than we thought," his officer said. "It doesn't matter," Kevlar replied. "They have merely delayed the inevitable. Set course for their red planet. Let's show them what happens when you defy the Dominion." On Earth, Admiral Donovan received word that Samantha Howard had survived. She was being brought home. And she had brought something else, the intact engine from an Arcturian scout ship. "Tell Nathan Wells to get ready," Donovan said. "The real fight is just beginning." The Arcturians attacked Mars with full force. Their ships destroyed the human bases on the Red Planet. Frank Morrison and his soldiers fought bravely, but they couldn't win. They retreated into underground tunnels. "We need help," Frank sent a message to Earth. "We can hold for 3 days, maybe 4. Earth couldn't send help. All ships were needed to protect the home planet. Mars would have to fight alone. Meanwhile, Ambassador Daniel Carter traveled in secret. His small ship didn't look important. It didn't have weapons, but his mission might save Earth. Daniel arrived at Proxima Centauri, the closest star to Earth's sun. The people who lived there were not human. They looked like tall, thin deer with 6 limbs. They were called the Proximans. "I come from Earth," Daniel told their leaders. "We need your help." The Proximan leader, Tala, shook her antlers. "The Arcturians are your problem, not ours. We broke free from them long ago. If Earth falls, you will be next," Daniel said. "The Arcturians won't stop with us." Tala knew he was right. "We cannot send ships, but we can give you technology." Back on Earth, engineer Sophia Wright worked with the Proximan technology. It was advanced, but not impossible to understand. "Their shields are amazing," she told Admiral Donovan. "If we can adapt them to our ships, we might have a chance." As Sophia worked, an Arcturian message came to Earth. Their ships formed a line around the moon. The message showed Grand Marshal Kevlar. "Humans of Earth," he said, "your defiance has cost you Mars. But we are not cruel. Surrender now, and we will make you a protected state in our empire. You will serve us, but you will live." President Julia Rodriguez stood before the World Council. She was tired, but her voice was strong. "3 years ago, we gave the Arcturians one warning," she said. "We told them to stay away from Earth. They chose not to listen. We will not surrender. We will fight until the last human stands. That is our answer." The Arcturians were surprised. They had conquered 1,000 worlds. No one had ever refused their offer of protection. Across the Arcturian Empire, something strange was happening. Other species were watching Earth's resistance. Some began to whisper about freedom. Some began to fight back. Emperor Zaxkor was not pleased. "These humans are giving others dangerous ideas." He told his council, "We must crush them completely. Prepare the Planet Killer." The Planet Killer was the Empire's most terrible weapon. It could crack a world open like an egg. No planet had survived its power. On a distant Arcturian world, an alien named Kelmar made a decision. He had watched his masters for years. He had seen their cruelty. Now he would act. Kelmar stole a ship and flew toward Earth. His skin was blue like all Arcturians, but his heart was no longer loyal to the Empire. "I bring warning," he said when Earth's defenses stopped his ship. "I know about the Planet Killer. I can help you." General Ryan Parker didn't trust the alien. "Why would you help us?" "Because I have seen 1,000 worlds fall," Kelmar said. "Always, the pattern is the same. First comes the offer of protection. Then comes slavery. Then the planet is used up and abandoned. But you humans, you fight. Perhaps you can win where others failed." General Parker formed a special team. They would go with Kelmar to an Arcturian base. They would steal information about the Planet Killer weapon. "This is a suicide mission," he told the volunteers. "Most of you won't come back." Every soldier stepped forward anyway. They would risk everything for Earth. On Mars, Frank Morrison sent his last message. "The tunnels are breached. We can't hold any longer. Remember Mars." Then silence. Earth mourned for Mars, but there was no time for tears. The Arcturians were coming, and now they were angry. The real war was about to begin. Earth's leaders gathered in the underground war room. Maps of the solar system glowed on the screens. Red dots showed the Arcturian ships. Blue dots showed Earth's much smaller fleet. "We can't win a direct battle," Admiral Donovan said. "We need to be smarter." Captain Samantha Howard, now recovered from her injuries, pointed to the Kuiper Belt beyond Neptune. "The Arcturians are gathering here. They think we don't know, but we do." "Operation Thunderbolt," said General Parker. "We hit them before they can organize." President Rodriguez looked at the faces around her. "Will it work?" "Maybe," Samantha said honestly, "but we have to try. Lieutenant Heather Morris stood in front of her fighter ship. It was newly built, using parts from captured Arcturian vessels. It was faster than any ship humans had made before. "Blue Wing, check in," she called to her pilots. 20 men and women answered. They were the best pilots on Earth. They would lead the attack. The plan was simple but dangerous. While the main Earth fleet distracted the Arcturians, Heather's fighters would slip behind enemy lines. They would target the fuel ships and command centers. "Remember," Heather told her pilots, "hit fast and get out. Don't try to be heroes." The battle began at dawn. Earth's main fleet jumped to the edge of the solar system. They fired their weapons at the front lines of the Arcturian fleet. The aliens responded with full force. While the Arcturians were focused on the main battle, Heather's fighters jumped behind them. They flew without lights or signals, invisible against the darkness of space. "Target locked," Heather whispered. "Fire." Her missiles hit the engine of an Arcturian fuel carrier. The ship exploded, taking 2 battle cruisers with it. The other fighters followed her lead, each picking a target. For 10 minutes, chaos ruled. The Arcturians didn't know where the attacks were coming from. By the time they realized, Heather's team had destroyed 27 ships. "Blue Wing, retreat," Heather ordered. Her ship shook as Arcturian weapons finally found her. "Get back to Earth." Only 12 of her fighters made it home, but they had done their job. The Arcturian fleet was in disarray. Back on Earth, colonial scientist Victor Barnes worked in his lab. He had spent years studying the Arcturian biology from the samples left after their first visit. "Their breathing is different from ours," he told President Rodriguez. "Their bodies can't handle certain gases that don't bother us at all." "Can we use that?" she asked. Victor nodded. "I've created the Aurora Protocol. It will change Earth's upper atmosphere. Any Arcturian who tries to land will suffocate." "Do it," the president ordered. The Arcturians, enraged by the attack in the Kuiper Belt, sent their main battle fleet toward Earth. 300 ships, each carrying thousands of soldiers. Communications specialist Eric Tanner worked day and night, listening to the alien signals. He was pale from lack of sleep, his eyes red from staring at screens. "I've got it," he finally said. "I can read their battle plans. They're going to split into 2 groups. One will attack from the front. The other will come around the far side of the sun to surprise us." Admiral Catherine Powell, who had taken command after Admiral Donovan was injured, saw an opportunity. "If we place our ships here, near Jupiter, we can use its gravity to slingshot around. We can catch their second group before they reach Earth." The trap was set. Earth's ships waited near Jupiter, hidden in its magnetic field. The Arcturians didn't see them. When the alien fleet passed by, Earth's ships attacked. They targeted the engines first, then the weapons. In the confusion, some Arcturian ships fired on their own kind. It was Earth's first major victory. 47 alien ships destroyed, 30 more damaged. But the cost was high. Earth lost half its fleet, and the main Arcturian force was still coming. On their command ship, Grand Marshal Kevlar was furious. "These humans fight like demons," he told Emperor Zaxkor. "But they cannot win. The planet killer will be ready in 3 days." "No," the Emperor said. "I want them to suffer first. Begin the ground invasion. Let them see their cities burn before we destroy their world." The Arcturian ships broke through Earth's outer defenses. They entered the atmosphere in great numbers. Their landing craft looked like giant metal spiders falling from the sky. Major Kevin Russell stood with his soldiers in the ruins of Chicago. They watched the alien ships land. They were scared, but no one ran away. This was their home. They would fight for it. "Remember your training," Kevin told them. "Let them come to us. Use the buildings for cover." The Arcturian soldiers marched out of their ships. They were tall and blue with 4 arms. Each arm held a weapon. They moved forward, sure they would win easily. Kevin waited until they were close. "Now," he shouted. Human soldiers fired from windows, from behind cars, from underground tunnels. The Arcturians fell back, surprised by the attack. The same thing happened in cities across Earth. The aliens expected to walk in and take over. Instead, they found humans fighting for every street, every building. Dr. Andrea Matthews sat in her lab deep under the Rocky Mountains. She watched the battle on her screens. The humans were fighting well, but the Arcturians kept coming. There were too many of them. "Activate the Aurora Protocol," President Rodriguez ordered. Her voice was sad. She knew it would save Earth, but at a great cost. Andrea pushed the button. Across the world, tall towers released a special gas into the sky. The gas rose up and spread through the atmosphere. At first, nothing happened. Then the Arcturian soldiers began to cough. Their blue skin turned gray. Many fell to the ground, unable to breathe. "It's working," Andrea told the president. "The Arcturians can't handle the new atmosphere." But the aliens were smart. They quickly put on breathing masks. And they were angry. They had come to conquer and enslave. Now they came to punish. The Arcturian ships rose back into the sky. They began to fire on Earth's cities from orbit. Buildings fell. Fires spread. Millions of people died. In New York, engineer Paul Weber watched his city burn. He worked at an antimatter power plant, one of Earth's most advanced facilities. As Arcturian bombs fell closer, he had an idea. "We can't save the plant," he told his team, "but we can use it." Paul changed the power plant's settings. He made it unstable on purpose. Then he sent a signal to space, a signal the Arcturians would detect. "The plant has weapons," the signal said. "Many weapons." The Arcturians took the bait. A command ship moved into position above New York. It focused its weapons on the power plant. "Get everyone out," Paul told his team. "I'll finish this." Paul stayed behind. He waited until the Arcturian ship was directly overhead. Then he caused the power plant to overload. The explosion was like a small sun. It destroyed most of New York, but it also destroyed the Arcturian command ship and 3 battle cruisers with it. The unified Earth government moved deep underground. President Rodriguez and her cabinet worked from bunkers built into mountains. They could live there for years if needed. Astronomer Linda Simmons used the last working space telescope to look at the Arcturian fleet. She saw something that made her blood cold. "A new ship has arrived," she told the War Council. "It's 3 times bigger than any we've seen before, and it's heading straight for Earth." Admiral Powell checked the scans. "That's the Emperor's personal warship, and I bet the planet killer weapon is on it." Scientist Nathan Wells had been working nonstop since the war began. He had created new engines, new shields, new weapons, but nothing that could stop a planet killer. "I have one last idea," he said quietly. "My void drive. It creates a small black hole. Very small, but very powerful." "Will it work against their weapon?" the president asked. "I don't know," Nathan admitted, "but it's all we have left. The problem is, someone has to deliver it directly to the Emperor's ship. It's a one-way trip." "I'll go," said Samantha Howard. "My ship is the fastest." "No," Nathan said. "This is my creation. I'll deliver it myself." Before anyone could argue, he added, "Besides, I'm the only one who knows how to activate it properly. It has to be me." President Rodriguez looked at the tired scientist. "Earth will remember your courage." Nathan nodded. "Just make sure there's an Earth left to remember." Nathan Wells sat in the small ship. It wasn't built for battle. It was a science vessel, designed for research. But today, it would decide the fate of Earth. The void drive hummed beside him. It was smaller than he expected when he first designed it, a metal box the size of a microwave. Inside was the power to create a tiny black hole. 5 minutes to launch," said the voice over the radio. Nathan checked his course one last time. He would fly straight at the Emperor's ship. The Arcturians would shoot at him, of course. But his ship was small and fast. He might get through. 1 minute to launch. He thought about his family, safe in the bunkers below. He hoped they would have a world to live in when this was done. Launch. The ship shot into space. Earth looked beautiful from here. Blue oceans, white clouds, green and brown land. Worth dying for. The Arcturian fleet saw him coming. They fired their weapons. Energy beams cut through space around his ship. Nathan flew in a wild pattern, making himself hard to hit. Emperor Zaxkor stood on the bridge of his massive ship. He was taller than other Arcturians, with skin so dark blue it was almost black. He watched the small human ship approach. "Such a pathetic attempt," he said. "One tiny ship against my fleet." His officers laughed, but one was worried. "The ship is moving very fast, Emperor, and its path is directly toward us. Destroy it," the Emperor ordered. More weapons fired. Nathan's ship took a hit. The right side was gone. Air leaked into space. He had only minutes left. "Almost there," he whispered. He could see the Emperor's ship now. It was huge, like a floating city in space. The void drive was ready. Nathan pushed the activation button and closed his eyes. He thought of Earth one last time. The explosion looked small at first. A tiny dot of darkness appeared where Nathan's ship had been. Then it grew. It pulled in light, debris, and nearby ships. The Emperor's ship was caught in its gravity. "What is happening?" the Emperor demanded. But it was too late. His ship was being torn apart, pulled piece by piece into the growing void. The black hole lasted only seconds before it collapsed. But when it was gone, so was the Emperor's ship and much of the Arcturian fleet. On Earth, people watched the sky. The remaining Arcturian ships were moving strangely. Some fled. Others fired on each other. "Their command structure is falling apart," Admiral Powell said. "Without the Emperor, they don't know what to do." Captain Samantha Howard took command of Earth's remaining ships. "This is our chance," she said. "All ships attack. Push them out of our system." The battle lasted 3 more days, but finally, the last Arcturian ship jumped away, leaving Earth's solar system empty of invaders. Across the galaxy, the news spread. The mighty Arcturian Dominion had been defeated. The Emperor was dead. Species that had been slaves for generations rose up against their masters. 6 months later, ships from many worlds came to Earth, not to fight, but to talk. Aliens with scales, with fur, with strange shapes and colors. All had been part of the Dominion. Now they were free. A tall, deer-like Proximan spoke for them. For thousands of years, the Arcturians ruled the stars. No one dared to fight them. No one except humans. President Rodriguez welcomed them to Earth. Parts of the planet were still in ruins. It would take years to rebuild. But humanity had survived. "We want to learn from you," the Proximan said. "We want to build something new. Not an empire, but a place where all species are equal. Will you help us?" The president nodded. "We will. We call it the Terran Concordat, a group of free worlds who stand together." 200 years later, young Arcturians sat in school. Their teacher showed them images of Earth. "This is why we never go to the human world," the teacher said. "Long ago, they gave our people one warning. They told us to stay away from Earth. Our ancestors didn't listen. We lost an empire because of that mistake." The students looked at pictures of humans. They seemed so small, so soft, not dangerous at all. "Remember this lesson," the teacher said. "When humans give you a warning, you listen."